Cricbuzz Chatter at the end of day 2 of this test match here in Ahmedabad. DK is alongside me. I didn't see the last test match, by the way. I wasn't at Indore, but DK was there. At the end of day 2, when you were doing Cricbuzz Chatter, the game was almost over.
Yes, very much
And
so.
now only 10 wickets have fallen, and the game is absolutely wide open, and anything can happen from here.
Most definitely. I think the way they started, the pace of the pitch, everything indicates that it's going to be a couple of long days for any fielding team, and that was the case for India now. And you get the feeling that Australia is going to face a taste of their own medicine.
Yeah, I mean, 480 now. There were times when you thought it might go beyond 480. There were times when you thought, look, 430, 440 is where it should have ended. I thought that 70-run partnership between Nathan Lyon and Todd Murphy that just piled on the agony for a very tired-looking Indian side, and that can happen when you've been that long in the field. Temperatures, there's big temperature change by the mornings are quite fresh, and then it goes to 34, 35 degrees. So we'll go point-wise. First of all, that innings by Usman Khawaja, 422 balls. And as a result of which, this is only the second highest score against India in the last 5 years. DK, these topics keep coming up. Usman Khawaja was the sheet anchor in a sense, 422 balls. We talked about him briefly yesterday. He didn't go up a gear, but he was the glue even today.
No doubt about it. What I really liked about his knock was the tempo. We keep using that word. He was consistent throughout his innings. He didn't, when you get close to landmarks like 50 and 100, you tend to raise a gear after that because you feel a little invincible at times. You feel like hitting that boundary, and you didn't see all of those temptations from him. He kept to the same tempo yesterday and today as well. Nothing changed. Nothing about his batting changed. There were batters around him who batted very differently, but he went about his business the same way consistently through the 180 runs that he scored.
Yeah, and even when Nathan Lyon came in, he was happy to just nudge a single. And, batting 400 plus balls, batting for 10 hours, not losing your concentration. These are very special skills. They come out of denial, they come out of a deep inner resistance as well. And it was a wonderful innings. And you could see, sometimes when you come back after tea, he just played a little lazy flick because I've done that so many times. And it was, I don't want to deny Akshar Patel a big wicket, but it wasn't a ball that did anything dramatic.
True, Arshan. That's how wickets will fall when the batsman feels that they're set, they're okay. We're just after a break. The usual that coaches will say to batters during their learning days, soon after a session, soon after a drinks break or a lunch session, just make sure you go out there, start fresh, mark your guard, and all these things need to be noted on flat pitches like this because from the pitch there is not much assistance. So the bowler doesn't believe he can bowl a magical delivery to get you out. All he is hoping in many ways is you will make an error somewhere, and Khawaja didn't do it for 421 balls. On the 422nd ball, he made one error, just first ball after. And it was anticlimactic for the way he batted, but you also got a feeling that's the way he was going to get out in a soft, innocuous way because he wasn't looking to loft anything. Any expansive shots. He just kept playing ball merit consistently, showing the full face of the maker through and through his innings. And you got the feeling that the Indian bowlers at a point were like, all right, we don't have anything much else to throw at you. Probably give you the single and we'll try and attack the new batter and the other batsman at strike. And it was so good to watch him bat. I think test matches in India have lacked that for some time now. We've seen things happening too quickly. But this is one such test where things have progressed like we're used to back in the old days.
I mean, you're not old enough to say back in the old day, but I mean, there was a test match played in India where South Africa made 123 and 123 overs, but there they were trying to save the game. The one thing I will say in favor of India is that they did not let Australia run away with the game for major parts of the game. The spinners only conceded at 2 runs an over. Overall, the run rate was under 3 and over. It was only really Cameron Green, and then again with the third new ball where you got some easy boundaries. I was very happy to watch Cameron Green from his point of view because he's a young batter who's never needed to bat like this. So, grind your way through. Sometimes when you're a very good stroke player, you're very proud of what you don't do there, which is to grind runs out. So I think he'll be very happy. That strike rate is very decent. He'll be very happy with that innings.
top quality innings, his first ever Test 100 in Test cricket. You always got the feeling if you watched him playing in Australia, it was round the corner. It wasn't going to be too long. He had the skill set. Absolutely. He had the skill set. He had the mindset. It was only whether his body would allow him to play Test cricket for long periods of time. The moment he's got the opportunity, he's cracked 100 in India, where a lot of Australians have come and not ended up getting it, but he's got it on his first tour and he's earned it. Though yesterday there was a spell from Shami which he countered and then went on when second new ball came. He countered. Today was a knock. Was you got to say in many ways it took his time, but played lovely shots through and through. Had a tempo which is up and down a bit, not consistent in terms of the tempo that a Khawaja had set, but he looked very confident through his knock.
It was very interesting. New ball kept going for runs. And whether it was the first or the second or a little bit of the third, overall in a test match where you're trying to seize the initiative, you don't want to have too much to do batting second. You look at that speed, 208 358 balls. Most of the time you take that in a test match because the opposition's also to bowl well. And I thought the opposition bowled really well. In this case, the opposition was India. And I mean, I think there's a little Ashwin fan club here, but with good reason. When you take 471, 472 wickets, there has to be something special about you. We said yesterday maybe he wasn't trying to turn the ball too much, but he was keeping things quiet. And I thought today he bowled, he really came into his own again. 6 for 91 or 47 overs on that track is something worth remembering.
He was phenomenal. Just a couple of things to note there in his bowling. 47 overs, 15 maidens, the highest by a distance. His economy very, very low, under 2. And the 6 wickets is pretty straightforward. But the way he got them defending. And that is the hallmark of a great bowler. In this pitch, it was about skill of the bowler a lot of the times. How can they the ball, the overspin that they get, the side spin that they're able to get the batsman to think what you can do. And just the way he used different methods for different batters was beautiful. I think over a period of time in modern day cricket, bowlers are very linear in their thought process. They want to try and turn one and somehow get a ball to go straight and hit the pad and hope DRS will keep them out. That's been the modus operandi over a period of time. But this was one such track. Because it didn't have speed, you had to bring something more to the track. And I think he brought that. He showed the Ashwin, which used to play on flatter pitches, the guile that he had, the speeds that he bowled. I think he bowled okay on the first day, but today he was beautiful to watch. Just the kind of wickets that he picked. He got them. He enticed them into playing certain shots. Alex Carey dismissal. A lot of people will say, oh, he played a loose shot. Yes, he did play a loose shot, but also the quality of the ball. It dipped a bit, slightly outside the off stump, tempt the batsman, he went for it. And that's a skill of a genius.
You look at those two names just under Ashwin. Now, these are names that, certainly in the case of Anil Kumble, that Ashwin really looked up to. He's always looked upon Kumble as a bit of a hero. Similar tall bowlers. Kumble more wrist spin, Ashwin more finger spin. I think deep down there's a lot of respect for Harbhajan Singh as well. It is a wonderful table to be on. I also think that since DK mentioned the guile, it just made him stand apart a little bit from Jadeja and Akshar Patel. The moment the track your friend Jadeja becomes a wow bowler, he's probably got a little edge over Ashwin. But I thought in this performance, he was fantastic. But if you look down the bowling figures again, there's a lot of bowling for Umesh Yadav. I think he had an off day. Bowlers have off days from time to time. But Mohammad Shami has bowled a lot. And I thought Shami kept things quietly. I mean, 4.3 economy rate is there because from time to time with the new ball, he was going for runs. But he's bowled 31 overs.
I thought the two standout bowlers for me was Shami and Ashwin. Absolutely. Ashwin, obviously, the wickets column just tells you how well he's bowled, but Shami was brilliant. We got to look at the consistency of pace that he bowled in each spell. The questions that he constantly asked to the batters were not easy ones, and that's the sign of a good bowler. He showed, for me, he is bowling fit. Every spell that the captain asked, he came and gave it all. There was not one where the batter was able to get away playing loose cricket. They had to play good cricket. And that's the sign of a good bowler. On this pitch, he pretty much did whatever can be expected of a fast bowler and showed why he's one of the better fast bowlers India has produced over a period of time. It's just great to watch him. As I said, the scorecard can be very misleading in this case, definitely so, but I thought Shami bowled beautifully.
They eventually got to 480. There was a very pesky kind of partnership towards the end, which leads us to a hotspot question, which is for you. We're going to put DK in the hotspot. in a question relating to what happened towards the late end of the innings, here's in the hot spot. Did they score too many? Did India concede too many? 480. Because I thought at one point when Green was batting alongside Khwaja, you might have thought they'd even get to 500. But at 407, 408, when the eighth wicket fell, that partnership between Nathan Lyon and Todd Murphy, did India concede too many, or is that a natural outcome of being on the field for that long?
I think you answered your question, Harsha. I think it is a natural outcome. Why? They've bowled over 140, over 125 overs at that point. It's very hot right now. And your main fast bowlers are pretty much done. The ball was reversing a bit. And when your main fast bowlers are done, you're reliant on Ashwin. And the other two spinners you saw couldn't get too much out of the wicket. So as a batter, if you just can play out Ashwin, then you have runs on the cards. And that's exactly what they did. You always got the feeling that if they just bat out the first 7-8 overs of their initial partnership, then the stem of runs couldn't be flowed, and that's exactly what happened. Todd Murphy and Nathan Lyon did bat well. They occupied crease. It wasn't like they gave away too many chances, or they were batting in a manner which provided opportunities to Indians. I think they batted tight. They played good shots. He made good use of the sweep shot, Todd Murphy, and they didn't look like poor tailenders. They knew, like, they pretty much looked that they could bat, and I can completely empathize with the Indians at that stage. And the wicket doesn't offer you much. The ball getting older, the conditions being hot, it's not easy once two batters decide to just block the good balls and then put the bat.
Since you mentioned the conditions, it was hot, about the surface itself. We've got a question. There's been so much talk about the pitches. We've got a question that is a little contrary to what the kind of questions we've been getting so far. So let's take our audience question for you. And this is an interesting one. It comes from NK. NK, I'm assuming your N is Nitin, because you've given it away towards the end. If the wickets fall in bulk and a test match gets over in 2-3 days, says Nitin, the pitch is rated poor. Should this pitch also be rated as poor? Because it's difficult to take wickets from the bowler's point of view. He says it's a horrible pitch to bowl on. A little early to say that, only 2 days?
I would think so. If the match referee had to give it in writing today, I think he would put it down as poor. To have 10 wickets fall over 180 overs is not a great sign for Test cricket. And over a period of time, interestingly, in a lot of countries around the world, the pitch seems to get better for batting. But we know in India, the pitch tends to get harder for batting, which would mean that cracks should form. Should get a rough on both sides of the wicket for the off spinners to work and for the left-handers to find it really hard to bat on. To be very honest, Harsha, I didn't see that happening. I did the pitch report today, and nothing suggested that the wicket would be any different from what it is today. If at all anything, it will get slightly slower, maybe a little lower. But is it going to be really hard for batting? Yes, compared to day one, it's slightly harder, but it's not very hard. But if this wicket doesn't provide a result, then I think you should deem it as a very ordinary pitch.
Yeah, because normally, and the reason I said, is it too early, is you want to wait and see if it starts to change character by the 4th day, and if it gets into a position to provide you a result deep into the 5th day. If it can, then I think it's still a pretty good surface if it does that. But over the 3rd day and 4th day, if it continues to remain a road, then maybe not the best surface. But it's not a precise art. It's not a science, the process of preparing a pitch. So, okay, there's your answer. Which brings us to what lies ahead. We got a little trailer today of Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill. What stood out in those 10 overs? Normally when there's 10 overs, we're all sitting a little bit on the edge saying, what's going to happen. Funnily, I found myself doing that only in the first 2 or 3 balls and only in the last 4 balls after Shubman hit that 6. But at no point did the ball go past the bat.
I thought they batted with great intent.
Very intent is a word we use very often, but that was it.
You had to sum it up that way only because they put the bad balls away. They saw through the good ones. They didn't over attack, but at the same time, the bowler knew and was under pressure that if he gave anything loose, it's going to go for the boundary. They couldn't keep too many men attacking. And the beauty of young blood was when Shubman Gill hit that shot in the last over of the day. It would have been deemed reckless if you had gotten out. And that's where the mindset of these young batters was so different.
Yeah, you could go and see Rohit actually went and patted him on the back when he did that. There were 3 shots I want to talk about. It's only a little phase, but we all love batting. One was the one you just talked about. We hit Nathan Lyon for 6. One is that trademark shot that he's making his own. Like every batter has a trademark shot. That he hit there, the speed with which it reaches the boundary is something else.
So that comes from the fact that his initial movement is his trigger is done. He just waits for the ball and he flat bats it in front. So he's got a nice high back lift and this comes down on the ball. But what is beautiful about it is how much control he has. If he sees the ball is a very bad one and he's able to spot it early, he hits it in front. If he finds it slightly quicker, waits and plays it a little later. So to have that kind of control on the cut shot is beautiful, and that comes from the setup that he has. He has a very flat batted batting approach, and that's why he is so, when he gets going, he's really hard to stop because he plays a lot in front and also can use the pace.
When he does that, you always think angle bat, will he play on to his stump? Sometimes it's happened once or twice, but I'll tell you, when he plays that shot, it's beautiful. And the third shot was just a single, which was a square drive that Rohit Sharma played of Stark when he played that shot. And I thought, most people, if you've got 8 overs left at that point, you would have gone and left that alone. But he was so confident. I thought that square, there's a deep point, and that's why it was only a single. I absolutely loved that shot. So it told you that at the end of day 2, there is not much happening on the surface, which takes us towards our last item, which is fast forward. 10 overs bowled. If India bat through the day tomorrow, which strictly they should, they'll have to bat badly not to have batted through the day tomorrow. Let's do a simple calculation. 3 and over. If India bat 3 and over, 270 to 80, they've already got about 30-40, they've crossed the follow-on. Then is there enough time left in the game for Australia to bat again and bowl India out? I think if India only bat 90 overs, there is enough time. But if India match Australia's score, then only one team can lose from there, and that is the team batting third. Maybe it's too far ahead at the moment. Maybe we should talk about that tomorrow, but at the end of tomorrow. But what about tomorrow itself?
For me, tomorrow, looking at it from Team India's point of view, I think they shouldn't lose more than 3 wickets. And they should bat at
Just
3.5. I would say 3 wickets. There's nothing happening in the wicket, Harsha.
I know.
They haven't got the quality that an Ashwin, Jadeja and Akshar possess. Yes, if we have an Ashwin, they have a line. Fair enough. I accept. But we saw the kind of approach that we have. It's not going to cause too much trouble with the kind of bowling attack they have. The two bowlers that they have to watch out for, Mitchell Starc and Nathan Lyon. Mitchell Starc won't be as venomous unless the ball starts reversing. Nathan Lyon, for large parts of the day, he is the one bowler who can get the odd wicket. Yeah. But if I was India, I wouldn't look at more than 3 wickets. I'm saying India should get 300 runs in the day, 3 wickets to lose.
I've got, if that is what indeed India is able to achieve, I'm going to go one step further. It's 36. India 333, 40 for 3. They can't lose a game from there.
They cannot. No.
Because then Australia start to worry. So we'll wait and see. 3 wickets. Dinesh Karthik thinks 3 wickets. That is, I think 3 wickets at the end of the day, 300 for 3 in the day tomorrow will be a fantastic result for India. But as he says, there's absolutely nothing that's happened. Sometimes you look towards the end of the day and see, did it do something? Nathan Lyon, it didn't do anything for him. I think it's going to be a huge test for Murphy and Kuhnemann, who are inexperienced bowlers and who have looked very good because the pitch has been their friend. Now, this will be the first time in the series that they will bowl on a pitch that will not do much for them. And this is where their guile will be tested. So don't forget, there's an inexperienced attack in the opposition too. Starc will create some foot marks. We'll wait and see how that works. If India score enough, it'll help Ashwin as well. So I think this game is open. My personal view is, at the moment, because the team's got 480, it's tilted towards Australia, but not by as much as it would on any other day when 480 are made.
Absolutely.
So they were 444 is a lot of runs, but this track is just an absolute batter's delight. So we'll wait and see what happens. This is a test match that is completely different from any of the test matches we've seen before. It's almost as if DK has turned up in a tuxedo instead of coming up in a t-shirt, like the same person, same contest in this game, but completely different surface. So that is where it is. I'd like to introduce you as well to one other series that both DK and I have enjoyed being part of, which is this fast bowling revolution. We've introduced you some of the stars of that fast bowling revolution. Now episode 6 has just dropped. Here's a trailer for the rise of New India.
स्कूल में चड्डी वड्डी घूमते हैं साथ में कि बोलते हैं कि भाई अगर तूने खाना नहीं खाया तो मैं भी नहीं खाऊंगा, तो हम भी ऐसे थे.
When he gets that new ball in his hand, he's one of the most venomous bowlers to face.
One could see that the boy had skill, maybe a gift he'd been given, and he held on to it tight.
He can move the ball both ways.
Everybody knows that. I think even my mother, who doesn't follow much cricket, knows that. He made his debut very, very long ago when he got Mohammad Hafiz bowled with the in-swing right up.
That straight away catapults him into every highlights producer's Hall of Fame.
He was so different from the other fast bowlers.
He came in and showed what he was capable of.
The disappointment of missing out on Test cricket must have weighed heavily on Bhuvneshwar Kumar.
He, I think, understands why they haven't picked him in Test cricket.
नहीं हुआ तो नहीं हुआ.
I think we missed him very badly in England.
Movie actually बहुत smart है.
Clever bowler though.
Very, very good mind.
He's a very intuitive personality.
All these terms getting associated with Bhuvneshwar Kumar doesn't come as a surprise.
डाल तो इन स्विंग ही रहा है, बट ग्रिप पकड़ रहा आउट स्विंग की. तो मैंने कहा ये कैसे हो सकता है, तो कह रहा बॉल स्विंग कम होती है.
At the start of a team meeting, Rahul Dravid literally spoke about Bhuvneshwar Kumar for 5 minutes.
In the next episode of The Rise of New India, where we feature the swing bowling sensation, Bhuvneshwar Kumar. Only on Cricbuzz Plus.
हमारा नाम भी पड़ गया था रंगा बिल्ला.
We talk about so many fast bowlers, but we talk about Mohammad Shami and the seam. Bhuvi in his prime, when he was swinging the ball around like that, oh, it was wonderful to watch. I remember a spell in South Africa. I remember when he first came on, a spell against, might have been against Pakistan when he came along. When he was fit, he was beautiful moving the ball.
No doubt about it. A terrific bowler. He's still a very, very good white ball bowler.
Yeah.
I get nightmares thinking I have to face him sometimes in IPL. It's good that I'm at low down order.
See, he slipped in the IPL. We're going to talk about IPL, but some other day. So there you are. Do watch that because if you come from my generation, then you wouldn't have imagined that someone's going to say there will be a day when India will have so many fast bowling options. So we enjoyed being part of that. Right, we'll wait for the start of day 3. Can India make 300 plus without losing too many wickets? Can India stay alive in this game? Can India actually do the impossible and start to put a little bit of pressure on Australia on day 4? Can they lay the platform for that on day 3? Lots can happen on day 3. We'll come back to you on Cricbuzz Chatter at the end of day 3.